Children of the Universe, Children of the Corn. I think that was a movie. Welcome to Trends with Friends. It is Tuesday, October 15th, and you are live with the Trends with Friends crew. Gentlemen, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sorry, I'm a little bit behind today. When Phil talks, I hop on my Peloton. It's kind of like the morning version of take a shot every time Phil talks, and I'm just going to hop on my Peloton back there and use it. Welcome everybody, Phil Perlman. The over/under today on you having to reconnect is 2. So that's what the line is on that. So Phil Perlman, the Baltimore Blister, is joining us, and then we have it's a new name. It's a new name that. Because he's a metamorphosis. He was a fat middle-aged man, and like a blister, it popped, and out came a man built of steel.
Lindzon's been smoking some shit. You hear that, Perlman? I like it. I'm into it.
Here's an early, and he's
look
high.
At my eyes. Look
perfect.
at my eyes. I don't smoke, but I look high. People
you probably should.
Number one fascination with people. I will say that I was with my buddies in Muskoka this weekend. Muskoka, shout out Muskoka, best place on earth. And there was a little partakeage happening. But weirdly, my eyes open up after I smoke, and my thick eyelids disappear. And people go, "How? Just quit doing blow." And I said, "Dude, I just took a couple of puffs. There's nothing involved there." All right, JC, with the hair, looking good, pointed due west. I think that is in tribute to the Hurricanes. Is that in tribute to the Hurricanes where it's pointing today, or no?
Listen, Miami Hurricanes, I mean, one of the best teams in the country, Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. I mean, I'm not the quarterback expert around here, but I've seen a game or two. Cam Ward doing pretty well.
Right, we'll get to Cam. We'll get to Cam Ward in 1 second, and then the AI whisperer, Michael Perek, joining us from Houston. Michael is. We brought Michael on the show because we figured by week 2, CNBC or the Gurley Pod or Jensen Huang would swipe him up and just create a podcast around him. But I think we've tainted him. I think the fact that he came on their show has actually hurt his career, and people refuse to take him seriously.
I'm just tired of saying no to everybody. I said no. Trends are trends. That's my game.
That's his game. And so what a crew. And then today, to add some spice, obviously Riley will be joining us with the Trends with No Friends. Nicky Montana, and Nicky joining us from his girlfriend's apartment. And I said, listen, we're shocked that there's not pictures of him all over the apartment, but he said he's staring at one, JC. And I'm going to let you guys guess, but he is connected to another famous Montana. Quick question is, would that be Hannah? Would that be Tony? Would that be Joe? Or would that be, is there another famous Montana, Phil?
There's a state. He could be connected to the state.
Okay, True. He's not connected to the state. True. Yeah. And so, no, he's related to Joe. I met Nicky. He's the son of Joe. I've met Joe before. Tried to tackle him at an event. He was surprised because you're not supposed to tackle these people when it's just an autograph event. And had to be removed from the party about 11 years ago. And I got a call from my friend Ryan Gilbert one day. So you got to meet Nicky. Ryan's a good friend of mine. I just saw him yesterday. And get this kid some mentorship. He's building his fund. You should look at his fund. Anyways, we hit it off. He came down to Phoenix, met Ethan and I, and we've been friends ever, about 3-4 years now. And Joe, Nicky, Frank, Hannah, tell us a little bit about Zero Knowledge and what you're working on.
So that is a fund I started when I lived in Israel. So I lived there for 2 years as a non-Jew, basically Catholic from San Francisco. And I met up with a guy that became my partner and got to know him over the years. He's one of those guys that's like super connected to all the interesting units that are doing all the crazy technical cyber, this and that Sequoia, and everybody loves to fund with like uncapped notes. So we kind of are front running all that, or hoping to front run a lot of that with funding those guys like before they have their company set up, and they're just guys that like are tackling super tough technical problems in a lot of different verticals. But that's kind of been the yin and yang. Is he's in Tel Aviv now full time. I'm in New York full time. It's a small pre-seed fund, and learning a lot from guys like Howard. So it's good to be here.
And you are in New York. And are we able to talk about this? Is going to be JC's wet dream. Are we allowed to talk about Spot.dog? You were going to be at Stocktoberfest, you and I on stage. I'm going to allow everybody quickly, so we don't get sidetracked, to ask one quarterback question. Huge. Go ahead, JC, you're first.
How old are you, Nicky?
32.
That's what you're wasting it on?
No. 32. Because in '94, I believe it was that playoff game, that wild card playoff game, when your dad was with KC, right? That was at Miami. I was there with my dad. We used to have season tickets to the Dolphins. Like, dude, that was so sick. I mean, I feel like everybody was a 49ers fan because Joe Montana is the man, you know? So that's really, really cool. What was who was your favorite quarterback out there? You know, obviously other than your family. Who's your favorite?
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's always been Big Joe, but probably, I mean, favorite right now. I like watching a lot of the guys, and Patrick Mahomes is just hard not to watch. He's just doing.
You think Cam Ward's the real deal? I mean, he's looking pretty good. Cause I'm from Miami, so I'm a big Canes fan, big Dolphins fan, obviously. You know, I haven't seen a quarterback like that in Miami, maybe ever.
Amazing. Well, I'll tell you this: I've never even heard of his name until right now. But I'm gonna go look him up after this.
You haven't been watching Cam Ward with the Canes, dude? Oh,
the
my
enthusiasm
God,
is making me. I got FOMO now. Thank you. But
all right, you stumped JC, and then Phil. Anything from?
Here's
the
my question.
Anything
Jerry
from
Rice.
Inside
scoop on Jerry Rice. I mean, he was awesome.
I like that. I like that question.
You know, I mean, he's like an all-time favorite of mine. Good guy.
Amazing guy. Amazing family. Grew up with them and their family. He's always been super supportive, and he's just fun guy to be around. Very, like, you can tell why he's one of the greatest. He's definitely competitive in everything and very like detail oriented, even today, and even through his like lighthearted personality, but couldn't be a better guy.
I'll tell you, one of the toughest guys just fucking pasted the room with my ego, and Ronnie Lott. I had a meeting with Ronnie Lott. And have you had a meeting with Ronnie Lott there, Nicky?
That's my godfather. So I just had breakfast with him and Karen.
Your godfather tore me limb from limb. First, he bit off the rest of his finger. First, he just said, I don't know what it is I don't like about you, Howard. Like, he sat down and judged me immediately. Then he was gnawing on one of his fingers, like on a Monday Night Football game, and then was so completely unimpressed by me. I mean, whew, he's a tough fucking guy. And then but I am friendly with the son, who's an awesome guy.
Incredible.
Yeah. It was also
Jared
in the
Jr.
venture capital business. Yeah, he was also in the investment business. All right, we'll do the one Phil Simms story at the end. We're going to get to meme coins. You and JC are going to be best friends. JC, he's going to unleash Spot.dog, his Robinhood for meme coins, at Stocktoberfest. It's live right now. I think if you go to Spot.dog, right?
Yeah, on desktop, it's very MVP
early
version,
days.
and yeah,
that
we built it.
So, anyways, JC, you were going to love this. They built it for you, even though you don't deserve it. You know, what have you done for the world? Nicky's building products for you. All right, so really a fun group. Phil, take it away. What are we covering?
Yeah, so let's do this. So we've been meaning to talk about this for the last 3 weeks, so let's just get at it. You've had some winners, believe it or not. Howie's had some winners in the in this market of stocks, and so there's a few that you just wanted to touch on. One's a coin. So Solana, Axon, and MMYT. Go.
All right, let's pull them up.
This is called the Victory Lap segment.
No, I'm just tired of getting
laps.
What am I doing questions with these all day, right?
Yeah, what are you doing now?
Yeah.
So you had a winner. You act like you've been here before. What are you doing now?
Yeah. So with Solana, I think JC and I shared the chart at the $20 breakout. So if someone could pull up the Solana chart, this show is called Trends with Friends. We're not trying to find ideas that you got to come back the next week and apologize or pound the table. You come back 6 months, hopefully a year, hopefully 3 years later. But we look for perfect entries. Solana was in, we call it the FTX bear market. You call it the crypto
Slide
bear market,
4,
whatever.
if you want to pull it up.
It would quickly pull up Solana. We brought it up in the spring. It had already run to about 20 in 2024, the beginning of 24. So it wasn't like it was in a bull market, but we had said a good entry for Solana at the beginning of 24, right around 20. Stock today is not the stock. The token is trading around 150. So we got our first 7-bagger on the show. I think it's holding very well. It's been basing about a year. All my channel checks, and by channel checks, it's people like Nicky, who's built an app that runs on Solana, basically, are that, the product is in use. It's, probably the fastest and most used platform for meme coins, which is a cultural phenomenon. So I'm still long. Most of my position is held by funds that I'm an investor in, so I don't personally own a lot of it. But I'm riding it out. Nicky, is Solana still, and when we were buying it at 20 on the breakout, was it, people that hadn't given up, but Bonk, Joe McCann had brought out Bonk to kind of save Solana, like trying to show people how Solana could be used. And there was all this FTX overhang. How do you look at Solana now as a company building on Solana?
Yeah, I think when you look back at like where the price was and now it's about the same, and over that duration of time, just the usage, the amount of builders, the projects, those have gone exponential, and the price has been relatively the same. I love it. I'm long as well. I will be long for a number of years. Not planning on selling any of that.
And as I hear, obviously everybody wants to compare themselves to Solana, just like everybody wants to compare themselves to OpenAI. So in your industry, I'm hearing Sui, I'm hearing all these new names. Is there anything that's like ticking onto the radar that's like a Solana competitor in your mind that's truly winning hearts and minds?
Yeah, you just mentioned it. So they are probably the closest right now. Everyone's competing on speed now. I think ETH will come back in its own way, and they're more of the, batten down the hatches and much more secure. And then, Solana and Sui are sacrificing and really just trying to be speed for people that and applications that want that over, a slower Ethereum.
Yeah. So I would wait for Solana to break out, Phil, but I'm still riding it. That was a huge winner for us. Next one was MMYT, Phil, which was our play on travel in India. We had talked about this with JC about the Kardashian bottoms, the ultimate long bottom. It was a massive breakout, about $40. I'm still riding it. I've sold some down, but again, not the same as it was at $40, but really volatile right now between $80 and $100 and $110. And I like that, right? It's deciding how real this stock move is. It's digesting 100% plus straight up gains. And you can see when we talked about it, it was coming out of this base at end of 2023 to all-time highs just above 40. And you can see there's no memory, right? The only memory now this stock has is of all-time highs. And everybody that owns this stock is a winner. We like these stocks. JC, anything to think about here? Do you wait for it to base if you're looking for new positions? Or do you just, as me, I'm just holding it? But like, what do you see here?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you're in uncharted territories, for me, I like looking at those Fibonacci extension levels, right? It just turns into kind of like a math equation, and that's a good way to define risk. We've seen it in NVIDIA for a long time now, and a big level there is 92. The next level is 140. So if you're just using simple math and you don't want to overcomplicate it and you want to remain within the underlying trend, above 92, and I think the trend remains in place, but below that, it probably gets a little hairy. That's how I see it.
And then finally, thanks, JC. And then finally, a one that I've held forever here, Axon, and we've talked about it a lot. The reason that Axon continues to win is no one's doing the work, right? This is a company, we've had them at my events, our social leverage events, just to talk about the business itself of Axon, which is started as Taser for 20 years and kind of was a Qualcomm like 1999 bubble winner under the brand Taser, but through its whole career up against trying to sell into police forces, and police forces would rather have, well, maybe the police themselves would not rather have guns, but very hard to beat the gun lobby. And Taser's an incredible product. But anyways, they got into the body armor business with cameras and basically have become a cloud company. And we've been talking about this stock for 4 or 5 years, but back in 2023, I was saying, on the pullbacks and on the breakout in the mid 200s get long. Stock's gone just straight up this year, up almost 100%. I'm a seller, just full disclosure. I started selling it over the last few months just to but there's no real reason to sell this other than, they have a lot of pressure now as a $35 billion company. I think I was buying this stock when it was $5-6 billion company. So again, just want to update people on those three because they ask questions. So these aren't it's not like I'm have another great idea for people, but some of these ideas just kind of don't stay in. You can't just keep buying these. So first, a tribute to how we do this show, right? We're looking off the beaten path for companies that are in massive trends. And now we can switch to what's today's show about, Phil?
So we're going to talk about meme coins. We got, this is like a Nicky JC special right here. 2 days ago on Twitter, Nicky is posting this. He's got this tweet here. There are now countless memes. I mean, to an old guy like me, this is insane, but it's also awesome at the same time because technology is fantastic and new things come and happen, whether we're paying attention to them or not. So to have Nicky, to have you here talking about this, your focus is this. So you tweet 2 days ago, there are now countless memes over $100 million market cap, 7 memes over 100 billion. And meanwhile, Bitcoin and Solana prices are compressed. In your professional opinion, what do you think happens when we hit all-time highs? And so it's so perfect that we're doing this program live today because we're not making an all-time high in Bitcoin today, but it is breaking out relative to its recent consolidation after, we ran earlier in the year. And so now all of a sudden we're up 4,000 or 5,000 and Bitcoin's trading for the first time in months over 66 or wherever it is, 67,000. So maybe we're making this move. So you have this take on meme coins that have these very large market. I mean, these are being traded. They're liquid to varying degrees, and they're substantial in terms of the amount of money being invested in them.
Absolutely. And we can go a bunch of different ways with it, but I think you pair it with the macro and things like rate cuts coming, risk assets flying, and then all the stuff we already talked about with like Bitcoin and Solana, where their price is at and the cyclical nature and what the next leg up looks like. And then you try and wonder, where's that money going to go? Well, there's a really interesting phenomenon too happening at the same time within crypto and crypto VC, where for the last decade, they basically got away with basically all the gains and value creation happened in the privates. And it's been this absolute down only, low float, high FDV projects hitting retail and retail basically getting dumped on by VC when these projects are valued at valuations that make absolutely no sense. You can see on chain how much money they make. There's a couple in the multi-billions that make $500 like I think a month, maybe even a year. So it's absolutely ridiculous. It's like finally retail, I think, it's a sign of maturation. They understand the dynamic that's happening. You can't really pull it over them in the same way that's happened. So 2 things I'm watching is like, one, I'm pretty nervous for a lot of the big crypto VCs that got away with this last 10 years. I don't know who's going to buy their crap at this point. And that's where the memes come in. they're super easy to understand. It's way easier to tell a story about a meme. Also, I can transparently see the holder account. I can understand a lot of the dynamics that it's really tough to understand some of these VC-backed like vaporware projects that are coming out that seem so hypey. They're talking about it on the podcast, getting people excited, only to dump on you the minute you start to get involved. So that's where the memes just come counterculture in so many different ways. It's the same thing with GameStop happening, these phenomenons where people are like finding a sense of community. Obviously they're there to speculate and make money. That's part of the world's greatest casino. But you can't find returns like you do here in memes, and it couldn't be happening at a better time.
So is this, I'm throwing my hands up here as the old man. I'm wearing the old man glasses for a sec because somehow I missed Popcat. And more importantly than me missing it, JC has
I've been
missed
talking
it.
about Popcat for months and months. We've talked
Have
about
you really?
it. Yeah, you and I have talked about it.
Wow. Okay, so it is a $600 million meme.
It's a billion.
Do I sound old and mad enough when I said that? Because I really want to get a point across that I'm old and mad. So this is 601
1.2
million
billion.
smackaroos.
No, it's a billion.
No, it's doubled since this chart.
It's
about
a billion,
a month
Howard.
ago or so. Yeah.
Okay, so we got $1 billion on Popcat. So now let me talk about. I get everybody knows the rule. It's kind of like Meme Coin's tagline should be from Dave Portnoy. Hey, everybody gets one trade. Everybody knows the rules. It's going to zero. We just don't know when. I think Mike just passed out. So adding a little gravitas to this, Mike is not upset. He just passed out. He says, "I quit." His heart just gave out when he saw Popcat at 1.2 billion. So my question to you is, what do they know that we don't know? Obviously, the joke's on us because we're not taking it seriously yet. And as someone who will be in the delivery of this business, and I'm an investor in Spot.dog, is someone, because I'm an investor in you, why would someone own this? Is there just a whole new set of rules? The stock market is driven by the idea that profits matter. Michael and I at Goldman, Frankie Goldman and Jenny Sachs are rolling over in their grave. The founders of Goldman Sachs, Frankie and Jenny, and because they know the stock market is all about profits, right? So how do meme coins go up? Obviously, they go up because more buyers and sellers. But if you could explain it to me in layman terms, what the ultimate, what does Popcat have to do to stay relevant and keep this valuation?
Yeah, I think. Well, Popcat really came as like an answer to the first meme coins are all like dog related. So we're gonna really dumb it down here for you, Howard.
They're memeing dogs and cats. They're memeing the dogs and the cats. They're memeing.
Exactly.
They're not just eating them. They're memeing them.
Yeah. So someone did a pretty funny analysis, which was like the amount of people who own dogs, in America or the world, and the amount of cat owners. And so basically it was like this inevitability that there was going to be a cat meme coin or meta that was going to explode. Popcat was that one. By the way, I was in it at 5 million. And I also sold at 5 million. So that one hurts particularly bad for me.
You were Popcatted.
I was, yeah, absolutely.
Ooh.
Absolutely.
What was your reasoning? But so how did these, JC, are you, Michael, someone chime in because
So
I'm not in denial of this. I'm excited about this.
No, but then you have the cat in the dog's world, which is they're trying to save the world from other dog coins. And that one, the market cap, what was the last market cap on that? I mean, we're talking a little bit under 300 million. So it's basically a small cap stock.
But how do you go to bed at night with no underlying value to these things? Michael, is this, are you,
Go ahead,
you
Michael.
must have some questions. You must have some questions.
He's on mute. You're on mute.
Oh, you're on mute. Michael?
That was such a beautiful old man move there.
Yeah. No.
Right.
So Michael,
in the
okay,
meme
can you
coin
guys hear me now?
conversation, it's like, oh,
Yeah,
you guys can't hear me?
Okay.
I don't know what Upstart is.
Yeah, so I'm the old man here. And to me, and I'm maybe too simplistic here, these are, in my day, these were the pink sheets. Okay, in the stock market, there was always the pink sheets. There was a lot of trading. People went up 10,000% and so on, pump and dumps and so on. That's it. Okay,
Yeah.
it's just meme stocks today are just pink sheets, turbocharged by the internet, social media, virality, Robinhood, no commission, etc. It's just gone up
But
a million
Michael, here's the
percent.
difference. Here's the difference.
Yes, sir.
While I agree wholeheartedly with that mentality, the market capitalization would suggest the exact opposite. We're talking about $20 billion in this market
Agreed.
versus like little,
Yeah. The difference was 30 years ago when I started my career, 90% of the global economy, I'm exaggerating, was the United States. 300 million people. Today there are 8 billion people on the planet, and each one of them has, and there are 16 billion smartphones. So there's all the money in the world can come into this from anywhere. So
True.
we always forget that. So I just want to highlight that the amount of capital, smart, dumb, medium, is just unimaginable. So all of that contributes to all of this. Bitcoin at whatever, Solana at wherever, meme at whatever. To me, crypto, Howard, you always, joke about me missing the crypto wave. For me, for 15 years, I've been waiting for one mainstream application of crypto. One mainstream application. Okay. In 93 to 96, there were over 100 million people using email. Okay, Hotmail was the thing that Microsoft bought. Even my mother was using email. No mainstream person is using crypto or memes, etc. So it's fine. These are pink sheets. These are pink sheets on turbocharge. That's my other side of the trade. I'm just kind of keep this podcast exciting. So I'm being provocative.
You're being provocative. There is another side of the trade, and maybe this is just. But I think Nicky's a serious person.
Totally.
Mike Dudas is a serious person. No, I'm not saying that. Joe McCann's a serious person. I got two questions for you here, Nicky. Does it feel weird? Does it feel like sometimes the world's passing you by? Obviously, you play college football. You're surrounded by legends in your real life and mentors. I mean, I joke about I don't take mentorship lightly. You have a gigantic brain and a huge heart. I can immediately see you being a regular on our show here because you understand this culture. You have every choice in the world, right? Because you and I chat about the fund, and now you've gone on and started this company. What is it what is driving this, and what makes you think this has legs? Not just one coin, but what is it to you that got you to put everything aside at your age in the city of New York when you can do whatever the hell you want? What is it? Like, what are we missing? Like, what are we not getting? And is it big enough? Would this be fulfilling for you if the four of us never get? Well, no, sorry, JC gets it. What would it be fulfilling enough if only 2 out of 5 smart people ever take it seriously? Is that enough for you as an entrepreneur and a motivated young man?
For sure. I think the first LOAR, I kind of fell into it by accident. My first on-chain transaction was buying Dog with Hat, which is now the biggest meme coin by market cap on Solana.
You did. Yeah.
So I bought it around 10 million. It's now like 2.8 billion or so. So for me, coming from Silicon Valley, I went through Y Combinator at a sports betting company. I'm thinking about expected value, people losing their money, odds, all these things. And then I see this happen over the last year. I'm like, this is the best version of sports betting. This is better than NFTs. There's unlimited participants. It's good. It's welcoming to the poor. Anyone can get in. They're very cheap. It's welcoming to the rich. There's low slippage on the big coins. You can put size in. And we're every day on Twitter now, it's like I put $300 in and I'm sitting on an unrealized 2 million gain. Or life-changing here, life-changing there. Yes, it's a casino, but I mean, I could probably make an argument that most of the stuff everyone's touching in some way, shape, or form has a lot that resembles that. So for me, it was firsthand experience, and then I love the non-pretentiousness, where it's basically like you guys have been getting away with this TradFi BS, and most of it is BS for so long. Now you can't, now there's a different way to do it. Retail's doing something different, and that triggers a lot of people. And that part just makes me even more excited. So those are two core reasons.
Okay, you know what? Okay, forget. I'm more upset about your hair at this point. So all I could focus on while you were laying into us was that you also have good hair. So fuck you. Okay, so my next question is this, Nicky. Is there going to be a Benjamin Graham? So do we need a cultural Benjamin Graham textbook on how to participate in this industry, and how do we keep the man out of this industry? If this industry is working because it doesn't have Goldman in it and Andreessen and Chris Dixon and better,
they're in it.
Mockett. Okay,
They're in it.
So there you go. They're in it. I would say they're in it, but it can't move the needle for them yet, I don't think. Versus them selling a story that needs to raise.
It's totally moving the needle
million.
for them. It's totally moving the needle for the Andreessens of the world. You see what they did in terms of switching parties very radically. It's all about crypto. It was all about getting Trump to that conference in Nashville. It's about a singular issue, and it's all undergirded by mountains of money. So let's not fool anybody. I know Nicky's saying this is great for the, in man on the street. In the back, the bulk of this is basically driven by huge moneyed interests. 80-90% of this stuff is never liquid. It's the stuff that's trading is the people are trading for fun, and it's and it's dogs and cats and so on until someone loses serious money. I study. This is tulips on steroids,
Nicky,
and it just keeps going for a long time.
Nicky,
I agree with you, but I still am fascinated by this.
Hold on, I allow me to school these boomers, and then you can tell me what I'm missing, and you could add to that. What the boomers are missing, and I say that respectfully.
Schooling the boomer. They are schooling the boomers and the dogs and the cats.
Howard Lindzon, Michael Parekh are three of my favorite people on the entire planet, and that's why I'm allowed to bust balls. But the thing is that they just don't understand the gamer community. These are people who should understand.
I'm a gamer. Oh my God.
These are people who should understand community as good as anybody else, considering that's how we all know each other, through communities. And I think that the culture, is getting understated. And if you understand the culture, and something Nicky alluded to before about how people are having fun, people are enjoying themselves. Phil Perlman, of all people, is always talking about how people are striving towards things that bring them joy, things that, you can laugh about. It's not like this serious, pretentious bullshit that, suit and tie with these huge pinstripes, like they're freaking, car lanes. This is just, people are having fun. People are enjoying themselves. That is a lot. I'm not saying that's everything, but I'm certainly telling, in my experience, it's a lot more powerful than I believe people think. So, Nicky, that's my thoughts. I'd love to hear.
JC, bull market's always fun when they're going in one direction. I had a 26-year-old Uber driver literally 2 weeks ago. His wife was asking, why does she trade memes all day? He said he just lost $3,000, basically all their spare cash.
Bad.
It's not fun when it crashes, when the musical chairs are done. So let's
that's
just
capitalism.
be aware.
Tough shit.
No, that's capitalism for us. Okay, that is capitalism. But what I'm saying is this is speculative dollars, and let's just acknowledge for what
People
it
make
is.
bad decisions. You're going to go to the grocery store and take the sugar items out of there. I mean,
no. I'm not arguing that, JC. 90% of our food is pre-processed stuff. It's the biggest industry out there. I'm not arguing against City Hall. I'm just saying let's go in with wide open eyes and balance.
Demand, baby.
It's
okay.
always
I want to get to Nicky. I want to go to Nicky here. I want to hear what Nicky has to say about this. He's just a nice guy and soft spoken. And so getting a word in edgewise with any of us is nearly impossible.
He's listening to these knuckleheads.
So, Nicky,
I think he's doing great. He's doing great. He's smiling. That's the key.
Is JC has the gist of what's going on culturally. Is that correct? And double question. What do you look for? Like, what are tells for you? What are bullish tells for you? Okay, both.
Yeah, I think two things. First of all, on the culture side, I think it's pretty interesting when you look, again, like someone brought this up recently and they were talking about like cult style companies. So you think about like Apple, Tesla, Red Bull. You think about like cult communities or experiences. You think about like all the people doing CrossFit, talking about keto diets and this. And then you think about like assets, like are there cults around assets like Tesla for sure, probably. Bitcoin, they're the first meme coin of all. Somehow convinced everybody, and now
Palantir is probably the biggest meme coin right now, even though it's a real company. It's also a meme coin. It's also a meme coin.
It's in that category. Howard's right.
Yeah,
Howard's right.
yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
It's because the distance between valuation, it's still a real company, but the distance between valuation, they used to call it book value. I think maybe where I'm trying, and it was a serious question. I think someone like you has to, Joe McCann has to write a book that goodwill is now culture, right? Like we're getting so far away from metrics that Ben Graham would roll in his grave just looking at the S&P maybe, that maybe goodwill in a software world. Oh God,
You're
Michael's
spot on,
going to
Howard.
chew
That's
me
exactly
out.
right.
I know I'm spot on, but Michael just looked at me and I peed a little bit in my pants. I got
Right.
that look.
Howard's right.
And
That's
thank
what
God
it
I'm
is.
wearing
It's
Depends.
goodwill.
And our new sponsor
Hold
is
on, Nicky,
Depends.
school us. Talk to us. It's goodwill.
Go ahead, Nicky.
Right?
I love it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
100%. And then I think like if you want to start to get into like what I actually see like fundamentally like interesting starting to happen.
Yeah.
Well, like Andreessen and them talked about for the last decade, like creators, they're the next billionaires, right? They have all the distribution.
Yeah.
All they
Yes,
do is
like
launch products. The products
Bryson,
are
I'm
not
going to see
that good.
Bryson in a couple of days. He's going to be a billionaire from YouTube. Like, that's
right,
true.
right. So they have all this distribution. And the thing that I've seen a few of these meme coins do is all of a sudden, you know, they build up the community and the cult, and all of a sudden you're over $1 billion or multiple hundreds of millions. Well, one of them launched a product into that community, and the strength it has, where it's not like Kim Kardashian posting on Instagram, you just go buy her stuff. You're buying this token, and then immediately you're pilled. Like you're shilling it to people. You want it to go up. You bought in for some reason or another.
You lost
And so
me at pilled.
They,
But I hear you.
They launched basically a simpler way to trade, and they hit 100 million revenue run rate the same month they launched. And that's like something that is absurd. And it started as nothing, right? It's a meme coin, just went to $1 billion, whatever. But like, there's something where like they have eyeballs like Kim Kardashian does, but they also have your wallet. So for me, it's incredibly stronger. Who knows where that goes?
It's pump and dump on steroids. I'm sorry. I mean, let's just be honest. Full disclosure, right? And one thing I would say on the offside, because JC, I agree with you. You know, and I love your focus on where the trading momentum in capitalism is. The one number on StockTwits that I took huge solace from this month was that ETFs crossed $10 trillion, which means investors of all shapes, institutional to regular people like Nicky, you're talking about, that are investing in these things or having fun with these things. I'm taking solace that most of their real money is now in index funds. They're invested in a smart way at a scale that humanity could not do. It goes to one of the other topics on our list, which are Howard's great list of must things from an investor point of view. And so the broader spectrum is that majority of people, regular people around the world, are investing more smartly because of all these technologies. And let's just acknowledge that the meme stock, which is so much fun to talk about and look at, and there are billions and trillions in terms of the trading volume and so on, is just the fun stuff. It's the
right now it's fun.
Yeah,
right now it's fun.
It's the 3%, 5% of the portfolio that people are having fun with.
But Nicky, the fun keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So as a trend follower, I see line keeps going up. Keeps going up. How about Harry Potter? Harry Potter just dropped 300 million for Harry Potter. New all-time highs.
So here's the pill that I've taken, right? So as an older CEO, StockTwits will never have billions of super fans, but we have hundreds of thousands of super fans, right? And very hard for StockTwits as a company that relies on that is subscale, but profitable, to do things for the community. The community, like even Twitter, right? Like it's hard to get people to pay, right? It's like dating. If you haven't kissed the girl after 8 years, it's very
you're in
hard.
The friend zone is what it's called.
You're calling it in the friend zone. So StockTwits is in the friend zone with a lot of its potential customers, meaning they'd rather see ads than me bother them. Now imagine, but we have goodwill, and we have there's some sort of like creepy, weird, fun culture around StockTwits, or people people want to talk with me or want to be mean to me or want to break the rules for a day or want some certain form of data. So the way I've been thinking it through with Nicky is StockTwits should have two forms of currency. People who want to pay with their regular wallet for services. And then there is who owns the most StockTwits coin and what rights does that give them on StockTwits? So I think there's a way to have both. I'm still thinking about this in a world of a new form of a metric based around goodwill and culture. But you still have to give something back. I still think, like as Michael says, if there's endless supply, you can't get high in your own supply, which is basically the theme song of this whole industry. Everybody says they're not going to get high on their own supply, and everybody gets fucking high on their own supply. Hence Tony Montana in a room, snorting coke, shooting at everything that moves. But I think for good actors like myself, and I try to consider myself a good actor who surrounded himself with these five people, and Nicky and Joe McCann, and watching people do it right and wrong, just like we saw with SPACs, I do feel there are shots on goal for companies that don't necessarily have the ability to get their customers to convert to the feature set that they think is good for the community. Meaning, I want you to buy Trends with No Friends, right? I want you to study Trends with No Friends because that's better than Trends with Friends. But they won't. So if you've got to give the people what they want, what if the number one guy on that owns stock can DJ the whole site for a day because that's all he really wants to do, and he'll pay $10,000 for that, or he wants to play a round of golf with Howard and his Trends with Friends crew at Pebble Beach, and we can offer that for the person who has won the most coins out there. So I do think imagination is how this started. There's good and bad intentions, and everybody has different. You got to look into the soul of the person, see what their intentions are, and buyer beware. But I think that's where I'm looking at this, Michael and Phil. I don't know, and I think Nicky already agrees with me because we've been thinking this through for a very long time. Is there's a wallet that is for people that want to pay for stuff that they can touch and feel, and they think it's real, and then there's the wallet for people that say, I want fucking goodies. Right? I want to go to fucking Chuck E. Cheese version of StockTwits and be the king of StockTwits. So that's how I'm thinking about it.
So Nicky, going back to that original question, what do you look for? Like, what are you looking for? Are you doing tech? I mean, JC does price behavior and it works amazingly well. He can set limits. What are the things that you're looking for to get involved? You've been early you're talking about dog with hat. You're talking about that Popcoin or whatever that you were way early on, but also got out early. What do you see? What are you looking for?
Yeah, I mean, you're looking for, obviously, like gold standard here is like what's going to be like in a Doge category where people, like, it's been sitting in multiple billions. It hit a high of like 88. It's hanging at like 18 billion market cap. And that's because like people just aren't selling it for whatever reason. It might be they were an early buyer like I was to whiff, and it feels weird getting rid of that, but after all it did for you. And so when I'm looking at stuff, like there's a lot you can look into on chain. Everything's transparent. So you can see people try and pull these scams, and they're starting to get exposed pretty quickly where, they'll bundle parts of the supply in different wallets, honeypots, and all these different things. So the number one thing you're looking for is like what not to touch. So figure out that there's probably 99% of memes you don't want to touch. And then there's these other interesting categories where you're seeing they've been around for, I don't know, 8 to 12 months. They've seen these drawdowns of 70, 80% that'll make you throw up, and no one's selling. And they're still going. And those are the ones that rip up and just melt your face. And everyone's triggered and pissed when it happens. But it's like these people held 80% downturns like 3 times now, and they're still here. So there's like subcategories of stuff, and there's really interesting actual analytics you can get into, and then there's tons that who knows like how to really
It'd be interesting, Michael, if the rewards for participating in this become real world ETF rewards. Like I can see a world where they team up with Van Eck, and Van Eck gives out units in SMH or their HODL ETF for the best traders. So I think this whole thing could Commander, I love we're fucking melting Michael's mind here right now because he's
No, it's
he's
like
being-
what Nicky's describing a roller coaster ride of all time. I mean, this is like
Thank you. What people are
I get it.
missing,
People like that,
what
but people
are
don't
also
like to live
missing,
on that forever.
it's the
Well, if you-
infrastructure. It's the infrastructure, particularly for TradFi bros like myself. Like, I'm OG TradFi bro from the start, orange pilled about a decade at one of Lindzon's events, actually, probably 10, 12 years ago. So orange pilled early. Thank you, Howard Lindzon. But it's the infrastructure. It's the on-chain analysis that someone like myself can do in cryptocurrencies that I can only dream of being able to do in TradFi markets. Like the old odd lot theory of the 1960s from Merrill Lynch and 70s and 80s, and that disappeared with the decimalization. That's now back in crypto. These antiquated SEC filings when Stephen Cohen is buying a stock or a corporate insider has 48 hours, we see that in real time on chain. TradFi is learning from how the kids are doing it correctly. And that's where TradFi is ultimately going to go, because these companies that have all the money, it's in their best interest for that not to happen. They're slowing that shit down as much as they possibly can, but that's because they're assholes. That's because they're just selfish pricks, as they should for their shareholders, by the way, to be fair. But the truth is, that's where it should be going. The kids are doing it right. TradFi has it wrong. We all know it. We all see it. And that gets a lot of people excited. And that's the community that we're talking about.
But JC, you're talking about what the professional in meme stock would do with the resources available. So Nicky, I have a question for you. Do you get the sense the majority of people, or a big chunk of the real people who are putting their money into this stuff, are as sophisticated or they understand the ins and outs, the drawdowns, all these places to look in? So I just want, I'm worried about the kid in Malaysia, the kid in South Korea, the kid in Uzbekistan, or the nomad in Dubai who's basically trading, his or her $50,000 on these meme stocks. How sophisticated? What tools are they using? Or is this really just the pink sheets or the pump and dump, just at a scale, because you can watch the numbers go like this? No, I understand, but I just want to get Nicky's sense of it because you are deep in these waters. I'd love to understand that.
For sure. I think you can, like, two things there. Like, I would say maybe you can, maybe they have to take a driver's license test at some point, but like they're an adult at some point too. So treat them that way. And there's like a lot of that trying to go on where it's like, all right, I can go fight for the country, but I can't buy a meme stock. Like, give me a break. And so
I just want to comment.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm really sorry. What you're saying is so important. So far from this being just a speculative conversation, your comments about you being able to look for things that are bad that are going on with some of these pump and dumps that do exist is critical. So anybody watching this is gaining valuable information. Now, that being said, speculation is a motherfucker. It was always a motherfucker forever. Whether you go back to the
tulips,
bucket, you go back to tulips, you go back to Jesse Livermore days and the bucket shops. You go back to the
rice futures
the
in
pink
Tokyo.
sheets. What's that?
Rice futures in Tokyo.
Yes, rice future. Everything's. This is just one more manifestation of that. And very unfortunately, humans, Fisher Black once said, perhaps people just love to trade. And, going to that, everybody's got to learn whether you're trading tulips, whether you're trading internet stocks, whether you're trading meme coins, you have to learn. The reason that I'm bringing that up is we have comments in our chat. Fabrizio made a really good comment. He said, you guys really think there are plebes making money on memes? You should really come into the trenches and see the bloodbaths going on there. And Serge said, yeah, all fun and games till you get addicted and lose your life savings. The thing I want to point out to you guys, you're right. I agree with you 100%. However, this didn't start with meme coins. This started with human nature.
It's just a magnified version.
It's been going on forever.
It's our lizard brains. This connects to our lizard brains. Yes. This jacks into our emotional nature, and that's thousands of years old. People have traded this kind of stuff for thousands of years ago. They just didn't have the fancy technology and the beautiful screens to play around with.
Go ahead, Nicky.
I think the last part that I'm watching that's super
We're
interesting
giving
here.
Nicky last word, then we'll move on to JC, who probably has to run. But this is a great conversation, and we'll make
I
Nicky
let
a
it go
regular.
because it's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, like this is
Yeah.
I
this
got
is
the
gold.
charge. Go ahead, Nicky.
So right now, and then try and guess what AI is going to do with content and all this stuff in the next 5-10 years. Like one of the things the memes are doing in an interesting way is like financializing attention. It literally is a war for attention. Like if you see Popcat more than the other cat coin, it's probably going to go up. And so, what does that look like when you have the AI bots and just like unlimited content being created like zero cost? It's going to be everywhere. There's really interesting dynamics there. I don't know what it's going to look like, but that financialization of basically everything, I think this is going to be funny.
I love that chain of thought. We should talk about that. I love it. Yeah, I think the AI has some very interesting implications on the mega abundance of this.
Absolutely. And you're starting to see, and then like kind of like sidebar here too, is like with prediction markets, like, like those have taken off. This election's been wild, with that. I think it all is interconnected there, but really the attention and financialization of that's been awesome to watch.
Yep. Okay. And so Nicky will be at Stocktoberfest, so we'll all get to hang out. And listen, I think Michael, we have certain rules. You can't, if you walk up to him, you have to face him when you hit him. You can't sneak out. There's no sneak attacks at Stocktoberfest. That's what our only rule is Stocktoberfest. We
can have a steel cage death match.
No sneak attack. Now, if Chamath happens to show up, you can slap him from behind because he's not invited. But otherwise, no sneak attacks. All right, quickly, just for trivia, what school did you play? He has a great, JC, make sure he tells you the story about how he turned down Notre Dame to go play football there. You'll love that story. And we'll get the Phil Simms story on stage. I'm not going to share it here today. Okay, let's move on, Phil, to what topic is next.
We spent a lot of time on this. It was just an incredible discussion. JC, before you go, just break it down. 2 or 3 of your favorite charts this week. Most interesting charts in the world, etc.
Yep. If you want to go start with that slide 13 there, just to continue this conversation. I didn't even know that Nicky was coming on today. This is just what we were talking about yesterday internally. So we categorize all the cryptocurrencies by sector, like we would in the S&P 500, utilities, financials, energy, technology. We do the same thing in cryptocurrencies. And the more blue they are, that's where the momentum is. The more red, the less the momentum. As you can see here, by far and away, the positive momentum and relative strength in meme coins far surpasses by a long shot anything else. So if you're looking, if you're worried that people are losing money in meme coins, you should be looking at other asset classes because these are the ones that are actually making people the most amount of money. So that really stands out. And if you go to the next chart, so this is a bubble chart that shows, again, by category. I know that the font is a little bit small there, but the fourth one down, those are the meme coins. Big performance. The bigger the bubble, the better the performance over the last month. You got a big circle bubble there. Very, very positive on both a short-term basis and a longer-term basis. So the relative strength has certainly been the memes. You can go down to Harry Potter, breaking out of this big base. So here's Harry Potter, Obama, Sonic 10, Inu, ERC 20. This is now above 300 million, making new all-time highs, breaking out of this base. This is very sort of symbolic to a lot of other things that's going on in the market, like software stocks, for example, like a lot of communication stocks. And then we'll finish up with some of the Bitcoin miners. Let's just stick on the, cryptocurrency sort of theme here, but bringing it back to TradFi. These are the mining stocks specifically. And then so over on the y-axis, you're looking at the 6-month relative strength, right? So relative strength over the last 6 months on the y-axis, then down at the bottom on the x-axis, you're looking at proximity to new 52-week highs. So in other words, the further the upper to the right, the better the stock. So look at that. Look at that CORZ. So this is Core Scientific, CORZ. This just doesn't look like a downtrend to me. This is a software stock, quote unquote. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but it certainly trades like the mining companies. And then we'll finish up with MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. MicroStrategy hitting new all-time highs since the first purchase of Bitcoin using the Bitcoin strategy. New all-time highs for MicroStrategy relative to Bitcoin. Michael Saylor since that strategy started, has outperformed every single S&P 500 company, every single one, including NVIDIA. So if a CEO's job, number one, is to increase shareholder value, not a single CEO in the S&P 500 has done a better job of that than Michael Saylor.
I mean, that just proves everything we just talked about today, right? Michael Saylor, I'm sure you've met him, Michael Parekh, but what a genius. There's two types of geniuses in this country. There's the genius of an Elon Musk who single-handedly can corral people to build shit at record times, whether it's XAI or the rocket stuff that I just witnessed. And then there's the genius of Michael Saylor, who's creating value for his shareholders without doing a whole fuck of a lot other than hedging against the US fucking dollar.
It's work smart, not work hard, Howard, right?
But I'm saying we are talking about the barbell of American entrepreneurs. Both created incredible wealth for their shareholders. Both are considered nut jobs by a lot of their detractors. Both right now are at the top of their game. One sits around hoarding Bitcoins and telling a story about, monetary policy and gold in many ways, and the other building shit. Pretty fucking cool world that those two things are happening at the same time. Michael, you've met Michael Saylor. Is this something that impresses you or is interesting to you?
Well, no, I agree that, both are examples of all in on conviction, right? Both those people, they are utter risk on. They Saylor with a singular conviction on his side, Elon with so many other things. So, and the markets are big enough for both those and many other approaches. So I agree with that observation.
Yeah, pretty fascinating. Okay, we'll let JC's gone. Was there anything else other than Trends with No Friends? Anything else, Phil?
Yeah, we're not going to cover anything else. I mean, we're just that was really
That's
fun.
Plenty.
Nicky, thank you so much. I just want to let's just do Trends with No Friends and we'll take it out. So,
okay.
Riley, what's up, buddy?
This list has been, again, this goes to me explaining that, we can't give this away. We give this away basically every day, and no one, there's less than 10,000 subscribers to this free product, which is, again, this goes to why IBD, which sold to Investors Business Today, a very simple relative strength strategy. We came up, Riley and I, with the opposite ideas, stocks that are trending, like MicroStrategy, that have no fall. Well, MicroStrategy has follows, but we've built this list of the strongest trending tickers with the least amount of followers, right? And it's just, you can't give this away, which is great. But the list continues to just massively outperform every other trending list. So what's the stock that stood out to you today, Riley?
So this week we're looking at LOAR Holdings. And so LOAR is a $7 billion new issue aerospace and defense specialty component manufacturer. So we know the aerospace and defense industry group has been a strong outperformer. The stock is up 70% since its April 25th IPO and only has 99 followers on StockTwits. And then an even more granular look is the LOAR stream on StockTwits averages less than one post per week. So not only is nobody following it, but nobody is even talking about it. The daily chart has this beautiful IPO base, and we get this little earnings flag right here breaking out to all-time highs. So as long as we're above, I'm going to call it 78.5, it seems like the path of least resistance is going to be moving higher. But yeah, Howard, these names that we're coming up with are fantastic. I think for me, it's just a great way to look at the new 52-week high list without just constantly seeing the same names that everyone's always talking about.
Wow. It's just everything that the market says, oh, there's no IPOs. Well, here's an IPO in an actual sector that people want. Oh, they're not big enough. Here's a $7 billion company. So yeah, this just goes to doing the work, again, sometimes you can do all the work and lead a horse to water. They won't drink it. They want to trade poopy coin. They're eating my poop. They're eating my poop. So anyways, LOAR, good find. All right, I've got a lot next week. Stocktoberfest. We'll see everybody there. This whole group. Nicky, great to catch us up on all this stuff. And Spot.dog. We'll be playing on that soon. Phil, thanks for hosting this. Riley, good to see you. I'll see you on the weekend. Michael, we didn't get to AI this week, so we'll get to AI
Lots
next week.
going on. No worries.
All right, everybody. Have a great week.
Adios, guys.
Nice to see you, Nicky.
All right.
Nice to
See you
see
guys.
you all. Thanks.
See you guys.
Cheers.
Bye.